Guys, welcome back to Puck Talk. For today's episode, we will be discussing the trade deadline and one of the all of the biggest pieces that might be moved at this deadline. I'm here with Sahil and Mark. So let's get right into it. So this deadline I think is going to be a pretty big one. I mean,
Yeah.
for the past 2 years, the COVID deadlines have been kind of underwhelming. Like I think the last really good deadline was where Mark Stone was moved. Like those big pieces were moved. Like Wayne Simmons was traded too. So I think that was a really like big deadline. While teams are still strapped for cap this year, I think they're a bit more willing to make those adjustments to get these trades underway. As we already saw with Tarasenko, like that was a quite large trade that didn't happen in like the last 2 years.
I mean, just now, like you mentioned, Tarasenko and Horvat, those trades are bigger than anything that's happened in the past 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
So let's start with the first name on our list. Meier, Timo Meier. Where do we think he ends up? I think he's being moved for sure. Sharks are aggressively shopping him, I think.
I say he's going to Toronto. He's going to Toronto, and
Really?
they need that secondaries. I think that Kyle Dubas is going all in. He's going to Toronto for maybe Nyes and a first and another like maybe Nimela. And
Dude,
Dubas would like Meyer because of his flexibility to be traded again because he is an RFA. So I mean, if they can't sign him, they can trade him, and I think that's why he's a prime candidate for the Leafs, who are obviously cap strapped right now.
oh, so you think they're gonna get him retained and not sign him in the offseason and just move him? That
Yeah,
would be smart.
That's a good move.
It's a smart move, but I don't know if you'd be willing to risk it. But I do realize that if Toronto gets them, who's your top six? You have Tavares, Marner,
so
Nylander,
like the
Matthews.
top line would be like Bunting, Matthews, um, Nylander, and then the second line would be Meyer, Tavares, Marner, and both lines can score at an ungodly amount. Like
That's
it's
nasty, bro. That's not.
Oh yeah, no, just make a godlike offensive team, of course.
That's like a franchise mode team right there.
Yeah, exactly, pretty much. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to do it because if he doesn't, if Dubas does not go in all in this year and he loses in the first round, his job is gone for sure. Like he's not getting extended. So I think he does pull a move like this to ensure something like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, he is the GM, so I can see him giving up futures for now because like he doesn't care if he doesn't make it to next year. Those knives and
Next year's
that.
this year's his
Yeah.
last year. He gets eliminated first
Yeah,
round.
it's not worth anything to him, Just blow it
Yeah,
up. So yeah, I
might
can
as
see
well
that.
get like
I
that.
agree with you on
This
that.
is the GM's all in year.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of GMs may give up futures anyways. Why can't Dubas do it right now to better his team and make that push? Like Islanders did give up a couple of futures, and they're not even in a playoff spot. So I think Leafs should definitely like do that.
Yeah, and they're versing Tampa no matter what, so they got to prepare for that.
Exactly.
They got to get
The
ready.
run back.
Yeah. So then now let's move on to Erik Karlsson. I think he's a big name that's rumored, but I don't think he's gonna be moved. I don't think anybody takes on that contract. What do you guys think?
I don't think he's gonna be moved either, but I've heard some interesting teams like Dallas lost Klingberg already. Like he didn't want to pay him, and he was a big name to lose. Like he's offensively pretty good. I think I've heard people say like there are some Dallas insiders that think like he would be a good fit on that team. And Heiskanen is more of like a two way guy. He's not like pure offense. You don't have really one on that team that can really do that. And while Carlson is having an insane year, I think there's some sort of a fit there. It'll be far fetched, but I don't think it's impossible. Like Dallas has the assets they need to get for him. It all depends on San Jose if they lower the price because nobody's gonna pay like three
Yeah.
first round picks.
I think he's just got to go for nothing pretty much at that point, or maybe like a decent prospect. I don't think you're getting first round picks for him.
Yeah,
They're kind of dumping a contract on someone else pretty much.
even though he's going like crazy this year.
Yeah, but like injuries and consistency is a concern for
Yeah.
me. So Mark, you got any to add, or can we move on to Chychrun?
I think we should move on.
Okay.
I wouldn't know any other possible move.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So let's move on to Jakob Chychrun then.
Yeah, he's a big fish.
He's been rumored for so long now. I've
It's
seen
been
him on,
like 2 years,
Yeah.
yeah.
and I don't know. He's a young guy. I don't think I can see why they're hesitant to move him. Like he's almost a point per game on that terrible team. So it's like it's hard, like he's like a talent you grew, and it can be tough to move on from that. But with the direction they're going in, I don't think it makes sense for them to keep him much longer. Like
Yeah.
once that contract runs out, he's gonna hit the market anyways.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the contract adds to his value a lot right now.
Yeah.
You can get a lot more just because of the contract. I don't exactly know what teams he's rumored with, but I think any team could use him pretty much.
Any team that needs like a defender.
He's a cost control D man, and he's
Yeah.
good and he's young.
I've heard a lot about LA. Like
Well,
LA
LA could,
is
yeah.
LA is like
LA
one of
already has like such, in my opinion, a good defense already.
in my opinion, LA it can go for him, but they have bigger holes to fill in the goalie
Yeah, the
department.
goalie spot.
LA could give up the assets to us. They have a
Yeah.
really deep prospect pool without
Yeah.
like hurting themselves. They could easily get cough up what the Arizona wants.
Yeah, yeah, like they are one of like the prime teams to get him.
Yeah. So now let's Patrick Kane is the next guy on our list.
I'm surprised he didn't go to New York.
Do you see him? He said that he wasn't the happiest guy after the Tarasenko trade.
I thought that instead of Tarasenko, Jamie would have been Kane.
But like he shot himself in the foot there. Like he
Yeah.
didn't he didn't waive his no move clause. Obviously teams aren't gonna wait for him.
Yeah, like right now you want to maximize your value that you give up, right? And Kane, like he can't, like he's still like a toss up right now. Like I think what New York did was the right thing. They need a secondary scoring ASAP, and they got it at a pretty good price. Like Tarasenko scored today. He scored the first goal of the game.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's doing his job already. Like I would rather have that than waiting for a chance on Kane. Like it's not guaranteed.
I think the longer he waits, the less teams are gonna be interested. Like Horvat's gone, Tarasenko's gone. People are just gonna trade for other players.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I think I don't even know if he's gonna be moved at the deadline. I don't know even if he decides he wants to go, I don't know if Hawks will be able to find a partner in time.
I've heard Dallas is
Ah.
also really involved with him. Like Dallas seems to love their older guys. So
Yeah, Pavelski and Kane on the line.
I mean, yeah, there's some options there, but like yeah, Kane. I mean, I think at this point, if Kane I don't think it's worth it for him to just just ride it out, and maybe sign. I think he might go to Buffalo next year. Honestly, like they have a young up and coming team. He could sign there for veteran leadership, and it's his hometown. So anything could happen with this guy.
Yeah, everything's up in the air with him at the moment because he has not publicly said if he wants to be moved or not. So yeah, Kane's
That's why I think like the NHL deadline is kind of bland. Like stars like KD and Kyrie Irving, they just flat out say to the GMs that I want out.
Everyone in the NBA right now is getting moved west
Yeah.
compared to like the NHL.
Like in the NHL, it's more of like formal, like classy, like. And I wish it was a bit more player centric, like not as much as the
flair.
NBA. Yeah,
KD
like
and Irving being traded would be the equivalent of like McDavid and Draisaitl requesting trades, right?
no. KD and Kyrie, they're not that level. Like
They're
I
not.
would say no. I would feel like I feel like Kyrie is more of like a lower level of elite player, and KD is like, let's say, KD is like Kane, and like
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving is like a secondary, like Tarasenko, I would say.
Oh, so it's not that big. I thought it was huge.
No,
I
like
don't follow
they've won.
basketball much.
In terms of like the
KD
trade itself, it's like pretty big just because of the fact that it's a big name. Like Kyrie's still a big name person.
Yeah.
But like I personally don't feel like the trade was big enough for Dallas.
Yeah.
We're
And
also
the
talking
thing, yeah. The thing
like
is,
we're
though,
also
like,
talking about like the Nets who have also just been like struggling with those two in terms of like
Yeah.
their results. They
Yeah.
were not getting anywhere where they needed to be.
Yeah, we got sidetracked bad somehow. I don't know how we ended up here.
yeah, but like I was just saying, like I wish NHL players were a bit more
Oh yeah.
like player centric. Like they thought about themselves a little more rather than like the team as a whole. Because
Yeah.
Kane's given everything to that franchise, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think he has a choice if he wants out or not.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do right by him. They're not gonna forcefully trade him. They can't. He has a no move clause, but they're gonna let him choose what team he wants to go to, I think.
Yeah.
And next is Ryan O'Reilly. I think he's as good as gone now.
Yeah,
He
he's done.
should St. Louis should just blow it up.
Yeah.
I think I think I heard earlier in the year that Toronto was in on him too. So there's an option for him there too. I think with Ryan O'Reilly, a lot of teams are hesitant
Yeah.
because he hasn't been he's kind of mid this year. Like he's been okay at best. At his worst, he's been kind of bad. So I mean, like depends on what St. Louis wants.
Yeah.
If like the price is a decent price, I think he will go. But like if St. Louis overcharges, then I don't think he's gonna get moved. And Ryan O'Reilly wants to stay in St. Louis.
I think if it's like a Tarasenko price, you pull the trigger. But anything more than that, I think is a risk.
Yeah, because he's expiring. Like he's he's older, and like as the older you get, they want him for his defense, and like the older you get, the more your defensive game falls off, and that's just what happens. Like the only person I can think of that it hasn't happened to is Bergeron, and he's like a 1 in a million guy.
Yeah. Treese Bergeron is something else. Yeah, I don't think O'Reilly. I think the Blues got lower the price. I think after the Tarasenko trade, I'm guessing the Blues are okay with lowering prices, so I think he will be moved. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see about him. Next is Gavrikov. Apparently, the price is a first for him.
They're getting a first no matter what. Like he's a big guy. He's big. That's all that he has going for him.
Yo, get down.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how. I don't know how he's demanding it. Like I didn't hear like this guy just came out and became a good player like 2 years ago, I think.
I mean, we didn't hear anything about him until this year. Like same thing with Sherratt, and like I don't know, like I guess you could pay that price, but he's like a one-trick pony.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay for Gavrikov. I wouldn't pay first for Gavrikov, but some team will.
Yeah,
what they did last year.
Look where that ended them. Like they're out of the playoffs, and their lottery pick is with the Canadiens. So
yeah,
careful what you do.
Yeah. Next is Brock Boeser.
New Jersey or Minnesota?
Yeah, no, I was gonna just say New Jersey.
He'd be good on New Jersey, I think. It's perfect. Like he fits right into their timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Minnesota can get him too. I think like I saw mock trades which I wasn't really fond of, like Dumba for Besser, which were stupid in my opinion because Dumba is an expiring contract. Like no way they do that. But like I think those two teams are like the best possible fit. Like Besser's team has been talking to them too. Like they've been discussing, like everything. So it's like I think Besser is done in Vancouver. Like he's playing his last few games right now.
Like I won't doubt anything right now. He's gone. He's leaving for sure.
I think once he goes to a different team, he'll put his game back together too. I think sometimes they just need a new fit,
It is like crazy though. Like the Canucks.
I want to go on a New Jersey team.
Like the Canucks faces the franchise, like Besser, like Demko, PD. Yeah. These guys like not Pedersen anymore, but these two guys are heavily involved in these trade talks. Just you got to feel for the Canucks fans.
I remember 3 years ago they started like Pedersen, Hughes, and Besser together in overtime. Everybody was like, "This is the future."
Yeah,
it was supposed to be, but I mean, look what happened.
Then OEL and those guys happened.
Yeah.
So
then we basically get like a really terrible defense, and then what?
I think he's been through a lot too. His dad died in the middle, right? So at some point.
Yeah, his father died.
At some point during off.
And he was never able to get past that, and it really affected him.
I think a change in scenery would be great for him. It would might help him forget and
because
move on.
You guys remember Adam Larson? Like when he decided to go to Seattle, he was like, this place reminded him, like this place was like Edmonton was where his father died. So I think a lot of players, when that happens, it's too painful to be there anymore.
Yeah.
And you need to move. You need to set your sights on something new.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the last person on our list is Jonathan Toews.
I've heard Winnipeg. Winnipeg is his hometown, and they need a 3C who is good defensively because their defense is kind of okay. I mean, outside of Morrissey and Pionk, like they're kind of lacking. So I think Toews goes back home, tries to get Winnipeg their first club.
They could use his leadership there too.
Yeah.
Like they just stripped Wheeler of the sea. I think they need a true captain now, and I think Toews is right there.
Yeah, and we've heard varying reports of the Jets having like power issues. Like Line was traded because some teammates didn't like him. Like
Yeah.
there were like a lot of like bullies in that locker room. So I think Tays, they need that to set everybody straight. To put their minds on like something bigger. While the Jets have been good this year, they've been clicking well. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have that kind of guy on the team.
I mean, he wouldn't cost too much, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think if he wants to go to Winnipeg, the Hawks wouldn't
Yeah.
come in his way,
And I think Tays has been a bit much more straightforward than Kane in terms of trade talks. Like Tays, like he knows his time in Chicago is pretty much done. So I think he's gonna be like definitely moved by the deadline.
It's also easier to move him because you don't need to demand that much of a price too, right?
Yeah.
So that pretty much does it for our big trade targets, I guess, right now. So guys,
Alright.
thanks for watching.
I think
Yeah,
you guys
go
watch it.